Hello, this is Irina from La La Land Crafts. In my last tutorial, I showed you how to make this Halloween card with the pocket and a tag on the front. And today I'm going to show you how to layer paper piece the image. The image on this card is called Paper Doll Marcy Witch, and she comes as a rubber stamp as well as the digi. You can paper piece with the rubber stamp easily by stamping on different types of paper, but you can also paper piece with the digi stamps. You'll just need to print from your printer on the different papers instead of stamping. I already stamped my Marcy on craft cardstock, the full image, as you can see. The same on the gray cardstock. I then stamped partial image that includes her face and the hair on craft cardstock again. I stamped the full image on the pattern paper, and the partial image we're only going to use the buckle right here on the orange cardstock. The pattern paper that is good to use for this technique for paper piecing should have somewhat of a small print. I'm using a 6x6 paper pack by Authentic, and it has a lot of fun Halloween prints in it. What else you'll need for this technique is the sharp scissors. My favorite are Cutter-Bee, and as you can see they have black blades. Those are Teflon coated, so they cut nice and sharp, and I try to keep the scissors just for this purpose, for cutting the paper. I'm also using black marker by Memento, and one of the tips here has brush on it, and this is to correct the edges of the pieces when we cut them out. I'll show you later, it will make sense. The ink that I use for stamping is Archival ink by Ranger. And the last but not least, my reading glasses. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut out the full image. I'm going to cut close to the image first to cut off the excess paper. And then I'm going to cut around the image on the line. Most of the time when I cut out the images, I leave a little bit of the white cardstock showing, but for this technique I'm going to cut right on the line. And as you can see, I'm going kind of slow, and I'm turning the paper, not turning my scissors, I'm turning the paper instead. And when there are a lot of curve here, I'm gonna go a little slower, and then when there are straight lines, I can go faster. This is a really fun technique to do with the Paper Doll Marcy images. We have quite a few. I'll put the link in the video description so you can see other images that you can use this technique with. And this is very relaxing, so you can do it while you're watching TV to do the prep work. If you didn't see the tutorial from yesterday on how to make the card, I'll put the link in the description as well. This kind of takes you back to your childhood. Well, takes me to my childhood. I loved coloring books with dolls and coloring and cutting them out and playing with them while other kids were running around. That's the life of an artist, right? As you can see, I'm not the fastest at this, so you just have to hang with me there. You can do paper piecing the easier way, just by cutting out the pattern papers and layering them on the image, but I find that this technique gives so much more depth, and even though this is not a realistic image by any means, it just makes it look more natural. We're also going to use Copics to color the skin, face, Marcy's hands and legs, and her hair, so I'll show you that as well. Almost done. You can see it really does not take that long, and the reason I wanted to do it during the video, cutting her out, to show you that really it is pretty easy to do. Once you cut the full image out, this is our base. This is where we're going to layer all of the other pieces. You can see if you need to go back and clean up in some places, and then you can use the marker, as I mentioned, the brush side of it, and I'm going to go sideways and clean up all of the areas so the craft cardstock is not showing through. It just makes it more clean. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to cut out from the gray cardstock are Marcy's boots. And I cheated on that one, didn't want to take too much of your time. I already cut them. So here they are, little boots for Marcy. And then I'm going to cut the hat. So I'm going to cut some of the cardstock off around the image. And here is a little trick to that. This is actually cutting out this piece is the most complicated part of this project. I'm going to start with the straight parts here so it's easier, and then I'm going to go around the rim of the head. Now if you notice, let me show you something really quick. There's head showing behind Marcy's hair, so we don't want to lose those pieces. So when I'm cutting around the rim of the head, I'm going to continue all the way where that other piece of the head is, like this. And then all the way around. So this is step 1. Now for the step 2, I'm going to cut off the top of the head because we're going to have this part paper pieced with the pattern paper. So now I have 2 pieces like this, cut it apart. Now this is where it gets a little bit complicated. I'm going to cut where her neck is, leaving the part of the head there, like this. Now I'm going to start with the shoulder, where this line meets with this corner, and I'm going to cut straight to the top of her ear at an angle. Like this. I'm gonna cut this apart. And the same on the other side. So from where her shoulder ends right here, or the head. Maybe if I put on the craft cardstock, maybe it will show up for you better. So from this corner right here, I'm going to cut to the top of her ear. Now when I have two of the slits made, I'm going to cut on the bottom of the head right here to cut the face out. We are cutting Marcy all apart, but we are going to put her together, I promise, shortly too. This will all make sense in a minute. Okay, so now I have this. I'm going to use my black marker again really quick to finish my edges. And the same on the top right here. So far these are the pieces that I'm keeping. Shoes and head and the main image. Now the next, from our pattern paper, I already cut out the dress part, so this is easy, just the dress. And now we need to cut out the ribbon on her head. So I'm going to cut, it's pattern paper so it's kind of hard to see. I'm going to cut somewhere on the bottom of the head, and then on the top I'm going to cut out on the top on the line of that ribbon, I guess, and I'm going to cut where the buckle is as well, because that's where we're going to glue it on, so we need a place to save the place for it. So as you can see, I cut out all the way around on the sides. Excuse me, losing my voice here. On the sides and on the top. Now I'm going to cut straight down and a little bit of the angle going in like this, and this will create the tab for us to insert it into the head when we build our image up. So it's going to be like this. The next one I already pre-cut as well. That was our buckle from orange cardstock, and also I cut it a little longer so you can see the line of the head right here. I cut past it to create little tabs. This. Now the only thing that we have left to cut is Marcy's face that's going to be layered on top. So I have one image stamped like this. I'm going to cut, get some excess of paper off first. Then I'm going to start on the bottom. So I'm going to cut around the hair. On the bottom of Marcy's face. Hair on the second side. Around Marcy's ear. Now, when I get to the top of Marcy's ear, to the very top of Marcy's ear, I'm going to cut at a little bit of an angle to create the tab here. So I'm not cutting, this is important, I'm not cutting on the bottom of the head, I'm leaving it on and I'm creating the tab. So now I'm going to the corner, to the side of Marcy's ear, and again around the ear and finish up the hair. Now before I start on anything else, I'm going to double check and see if Marcy's head fits into the hat. So you can see there's a little bit of the cardstock that's preventing from sliding easily. So I'm going to go back and clean up a little bit. And there is just a tiny bit of the extra cardstock here. Maybe a little bit more. Just tiny bit right here over the ear. Okay, good, now it's perfect. I'm going to clean up a little bit of the cardstock here, it's showing on my line. And then I'm going to use my black marker again and just give it a go. Okay, so next you can either start assembling at this point or you can color first, whatever you prefer. I'm going to color Marcy's face and the hair on this piece right here, and her hands and her legs on the main layer. I'm using my E00, E21, and E13 for the skin tones. Always start with the darker ones than I usually do on the craft paper because it already has color to it versus coloring on the white cardstock. Craft cards, oops, this is not where I color the face. Craft cardstock is not designed specifically to color with Copic markers, so it absorbs the ink so much more than your regular Copic coloring paper. And it looks darker when you start, it just looks wet. So don't be afraid that it looks dark, it will lighten up as it dries. So I'm adding my E21. Then my E13. Also, because paper stays wet, it's really easy to color on craft cardstock, and sometimes you don't even have to do much to blend it because the ink just blends in on its own. I'm doing little flakes. Then to add the blush, I'm going to use R20 and R21. And I'm doing, again, the flicking motion to add the color. And then I'm going to use E00 to blend the blush into the main skin tone. Then for the hair, I'm going to use just two colors, E55 and E57. And with the flicking motion, I'm just going to add the color on. This is really easy, as you can see. And then darker color for more contrast. Poor Marcy, all in pieces. Okay, let's put her together. When you start with layered paper piecing, you always start from the back. So whatever layers are in the back, those are the first layers to go on. This is our base. I'm going to go ahead and do the easy things first. So this is the dress. I forgot the color. There is a little bit of neck that we have showing. Just going to quickly, really quickly, add some color to it first. Okay, here you go. I'm going to line up, and cute, she's wearing a dress. Now I'm going to add the boots. I can go ahead and put glue on the main image because it's kind of hard to hold those little pieces unless you want to use tweezers. And the boots are on. Now we're going to put the hat together. I'm going to glue the trim here, the ribbon of the hat, onto this part. This is the top of our hat. So this goes on first, line up. Then the buckle, the orange buckle. I really, really love the effect of this layering. Then we're going to put the brim of the hat on. Oops, sorry, taking that back. Before we do that, we need to put Marcy in. So I'm going to put glue on this part, on the tab above her face, and insert it into the head. Can also put a little bit of glue behind Marcy's ear, behind her hair, so this piece is attached all the way. This glue dries clear, so I'm not gonna worry about this, about it showing a little bit. Okay, so now I'm actually going to glue this piece on the main image, on the base. And then the last but not least, ta-da! Sorry, I know, sounded really silly. Here you go. Here is this cute little paper doll Marcy ready to go on the card. So this is the card that I was making in the tutorial yesterday. You can see it missing our Marcy. I'm going to use foam tape. I said I don't use this scissors for anything else, but I didn't bring my other scissors here, so I'm gonna go and do it. Don't tell anyone. I like using foam tape from the roll because it gives you more options how you want to cut out, if you need to cut skinny piece or long piece. I'll put skinny pieces on Marcy's legs. All of the products that you can see that I used on the card, as well as I mentioned this image in rubber and in DG, are available in our online store at lalalandcrafts.com. I'll put links to everything in the video description. Done. So as you can see, once you have all of the pieces pre-cut, the assembly was very easy and it gives such a nice layered effect to the image. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you decide to paper piece some of our images, even not this Marcy, make sure to share with us on our Facebook at lalalandcrafts.com, or if you post on Instagram, make sure to tag us so I can come and see. Well, that's all for now. That's all for today. Until next time, much love.